What's up YouTube, PokePrimer here, primed and ready to deliver you week 2 of our PFCFL battles here on the channel. I know it's been a little while, I know you've already seen the team builder for week 3 go up, and actually our week 3 battle should go up later tonight. But I needed to get this recorded. It took Casey a little while, he had a really busy week this week. It took him a little while to get the battle recorded for us, but I'd like to still give him a bit of a shout out. The fact that he's doing this for us is absolutely phenomenal, and it hypes me up every single time because it allows me to provide you guys with much better content on the channel. So without further ado, here's going to be our battle. This week we took on Steven and the Lisburn Rapidashes. You can see his team right here. You're going to see my mouse come up on the screen because I'm going to really try to make this Post-Comm really good. He's got his Mega Gardevoir, Staraptor, Mamoswine, Gastrodon, Raichu, and Tentacruel. Fantastically solid team. I was scared. You know what we're bringing. We're bringing Zitz the Seismitoad, Hail Helix, the Omastar, Ghostbuster the Dusknoir, Chun-Li the Mega Lopunny, Entei, and Shaman. It's gonna be one hell of an uphill battle, but I think we can do it. This is absolutely one hell of a battle, and I'm really excited to provide it to you guys. So let's go into it. There we go. All right. So as you guys know, I like to lead with my Seismitoad Zitz, as I like to try and get my Stealth Rocks up early into a match. As he also decides to lead with his Tentacruel. Now, I wanted to scout and see if this thing had Giga Drain, so I stayed in, and what do you know, he does have Giga Drain. We are max special defense with almost max HP, so we eat that up like a champion because it's not stab. And I decided to just go for the Earth Power to get damage off on this thing, because any damage on this Tentacruel we can get is good damage. At this point, since I know he has Giga Drain, I don't want to stay in, so I'm going to go ahead and swap out into our Shaman, knowing the Giga Drain is most likely coming, as he decides to just switch things up and go for a Scald. If I had stayed in there, that would have been absolutely perfect. I could have got my rocks up for free, but whatever. So he fires out the Scald and actually gets the burn on our Shaman. Now, I do play very poorly with this Shaman in this match. I will make note of that, but I do go for the Psychic here, as we are packing it. Ended up being a very poor decision on my part, because he did switch right into the Gardevoir. I should have predicted that and just gone for a Seed Flare. That would have been really nice to do, but what can you do? So I'm going to take some burn damage from that. That's going to hurt. He goes right ahead and Mega Evolves here. He doesn't realize how bulky I am. And at this point, I felt a Seed Flare. I calced it, and it should have done about, at least well over 50%, and it does like nothing. So I learned immediately that this is a specially defensive set. As he sees right there that I outspeed him, so that's fantastic for him to know as well. That's something good for him to know as well. So the Seed Flare does like nothing, so I know he's a bulky Gardevoir, so he goes for the Protect. As I try to fire off another Seed Flare, he's trying to just stall out the burn damage and let my Shaman eventually go down. So at this point, Shaman's down way too low, and I don't have any form of recovery because this is an Assault Vested set. So we're just going to go for another Seed Flare whenever he switches in. He brings in his Tentacruel, which is going to take a decent amount of damage from this, actually really, really good damage. And Shaman's going to go down to the burn, so that's a status kill for his Tentacruel, which is alright for me. I bring out Chun-Li here. He predicts the Thunder Punch very perfect. I just fire it off anyway, but he predicted it perfectly as he goes out into his Gastrodon. Really, really nice, really, really nice. I'm just going to Mega Evolve and go for a Thunder Punch. So he predicted this absolutely perfect. I don't want to stay in here and catch a Scald and potentially get burned or any form of status from this thing, so I swap out into Zitz to try and potentially soak up a Scald and get some Water Absorb. But he told me after the match that he plays a lot with Seismitoad, so he predicted it, saw it coming, and decided to go for the Toxic. So at this point, he's playing around me like crazy. It's 6-5. He's absolutely just destroying me right now. So I'm going to get Toxic there. He's going to actually swap out his Gastrodon. I predicted that he was going to swap out, and I just decided to go for the Rocks. I knew Gastrodon couldn't do shit to me, so I decided I would take this time to get my Rocks up. So at least I get some form of residual damage on the rest of his team. Plus that Staraptor is a problem sitting in the back, and I wanted to be able to get that 25% on it guaranteed. His Gardevoir then here goes for the Wish, so that 100% confirmed me if I didn't already know. It confirmed to me that this is a very bulky Gardevoir set. As I just decided to fire off Scald, I mean, get lucky and get the burn, which is really nice. So even if he catches that Wish, he's going to have that residual damage nailing him each and every turn, which is really, really nice for us. So at this point, Zitz is getting pretty low. I kind of want to keep him for death fodder purposes, and I know he can pretty much wall the Gastro. So I decided to swap Zitz out here and bring in our Entei. Because I know Entei can eat any hit from this thing whatsoever. As he actually does go for a Hyper Voice here. Hyper Voice does decent damage, but we resist it, so we're pretty good to go. We're nice and bulky with that big ass HP amount. So Entei's just gonna sit here, kind of calmly, just chill. He's gonna go for Protect to try and scout what I can do. I'm pretty sure he told me afterwards he did predict that I was banded, so I went for the Sacred Fire here, just because I figured it would have been good to get damage off. As I do decide to swap, because I figured he was gonna swap, so I swap into Zitz here, as I predicted him to swap into his Gastro, as he does in fact swap his Gardevoir out into his Gastrodon, which was absolutely fantastic for me. I predicted that very nicely. And at this point, I know Zitz is going to be going down in the next few turns. But I know I outspeed this thing, because Gastrodon is slow as balls. So I decide I'm going to reveal it here, that Zitz is in fact carrying Hidden... Or no, oh wait, I didn't have Hidden Power Grass? I swear to God I had Hidden Power Grass. I decided to go for an Earth Power. I predicted him to switch, I think. I don't know what I did there. I probably should have just gone for the Hidden Power Grass. I predicted him to switch, like he did last time, but, you know, it was not the case. But I believe... I'm almost certain I had Hidden Power Grass on this set. Did I? It's been well over a week since I had this battle, so I apologize if some of the details are a little fuzzy for me. I did have the Hidden Power Grass, so I did decide to fire it off this turn. And it does really, really good damage to the Gastrodon. It's really, really nice damage, as he decides to just go for a Recover and let the Toxic take me out. Which is a really smart play on his part. So now, we're seeing that all the things I had to take down a Gastrodon are slowly but surely dying. Shaman's gone. Zitz is going to go down right here to Toxic, which is really, really, really problematic for me. And at this point, I really don't have anything for this Gastrodon. So I decided to go into Hail Helix here. I know an Earth Power is coming. I know it's coming. So I decided just to go for a Smash. I need to get massive damage on this thing before anything else happens. I need to get massive, massive damage on this thing ASAP. Because I know that I can't one-shot this with anything else in my party. So I decided to bring Hail Helix in, pretty much sacking it off. So it does hurt it is going to hurt my differential, but I need to do this. I fire off an Earth Power, because the most damaging move I have against this thing. And I do at least a little over half, as he's just going to finish me off with an Earth Power. So his Gastrodon's going to take out my Omastar, which is fine. Omastar did what I needed it to do in this situation. Now, in this case, I got a 50% approximately 50% Gastrodon sitting on the field. I know I can do at least that with Chun-Li. I know I can do at least that. As I go for a Drain Punch here, and it does very, very near it, as he decides just to go for a Scald, and I sit here praying, don't burn me, don't burn me, don't burn me. No burn. So his Gastrodon's down at a very, very reasonable level right now. So he actually decides to switch right here, get his Gastrodon out of there, and go out into his Gardevoir. Now at this point, between the rocks, this Drain Punch, which doesn't do all that much because it's quad resisted, but that Drain Punch right there, and this burn damage, Gardevoir is basically dead. So he decides at this point that he can't really do much with his Gardevoir, so I'm just going to Ice Punch here, and he's going to take out the Gardevoir, which is fantastic for me. Gardevoir is gone. Huge, huge, huge threat gone. At this point, I look over what's been going on in the battle so far with this team, and I know it seems pretty whittled down, so I'm feeling a little bit more confident. As he brings out a Staraptor and reveals that it's Intimidate, which is very, very interesting. A lot of people normally run the Reckless set, but Intimidate's a fantastic thing to scare things out. He's got enough power as it is. You don't always need the Reckless. As I bring in Dusknoir, I want to find out if this thing's Scarfed, and I do see that is in fact Scarfed, which is fantastic to know for me, because I know I can't leave Mega Lopunny in on this thing. And that Brave Bird on a fully physically defensive Dusknoir does absolutely retarded damage. And he's going to swap out a Staraptor, fearing a potential Will-O-Wisp, which I don't blame him. I am, in fact, going for the Willow. As he brings in his Tentacruel, it's going to catch a Will-O-Wisp to the face, get a nice little burn, and with that burn damage, Tentacruel, I'm pretty sure, actually just goes down here. Pretty sure he told me at the end of the match that this Tentacruel, I believe, was Assault Vested. Not sure, but I believe it was Assault Vested. And that's absolutely crazy set. Absolutely demonic set. As he brings in his Mamoswine here, and I'm like, what's this Mamoswine going to do to me? Decides to actually set up Stealth Rocks, so I didn't expect him to be able to one-shot me, so I actually fired off a Will-O-Wisp, which is great for me. He might get his rocks up, which isn't going to be that big of a deal, because not many Mons on my team are hurt by rocks terribly, and now that this Mamoswine is burned, I can handle it a lot better. So I decided to just start Shadow Sneaking this thing, because I feel like that's the most damaging move I'm going to do. At least stab. He's just going to start firing off Earthquakes, which really isn't going to do all that much. Dusknoir just completely eats it. Like, he's almost doing no damage to me at this point. Like, my leftovers are pretty much covering whatever the Earthquake's doing. So I just fire off another Shadow Sneak. I'm just trying to get damage on this thing at this point. As he goes for an Icicle Crash this time, which I believe has a lower base power than Earthquake. So actually, yeah, I'm pretty sure, yeah, that just does like no damage. As Ghostbuster just kind of swallows these hits like it's nothing. As he goes for an Ice Shard, which is going to do pretty much nothing as well. As I decide to just fire off an Earthquake, just in case he decides to switch. And Mamoswine goes down. Dusknoir is easily our MVP this match. He puts in so much work. Especially in these later parts of the match, he puts in so much work. Absolutely insane. As Gastrodon does come in here, Gastrodon is no longer an issue. I see that it's really low HP. I'm like, can an Earthquake kill? So I just fire off an Earthquake. I don't want this thing recovering up, and the Earthquake does take out the Gastrodon, which is great for me. Absolutely fantastic. So it's 3 kills already for Ghostbuster, and that's evening the matchup at 3-3. Now out comes his Raichu, and I'm like, ugh, I don't want this thing hitting me with a knockoff or some type of crazy bullshit. So I decided to go out into Entei, as he predicts this perfectly. As you can see here, he actually goes, and you're going to laugh when you see this, he actually goes for the Surf, predicting the Entei switch, which is insane. That was an absolutely perfect move on Steven's part. I was blown away by that, but that was absolutely genius. Now, I bring in Chun-Li here, and I know, I already calculated this, I know I outspeed, and I know a Drain Punch from this level kills. So, I go for the Drain Punch, and it just absolutely melts the Raichu. So, I'm going to get all the way back up to full HP, which is perfect. Absolutely perfect. And he does get the static on me, which is really, really distressful, because at this point in the match, I couldn't afford that. So now he's just got his Staraptor left, which is kind of good for this at this point in the match, because I know that between recoil damage that he's going to take this turn and recoil damage next turn, he's going to go down. So he's going to hit, I let Chun-Li go down, as I know he's going to take massive recoil damage from that hit, as I can just bring Ghostbuster in, and I know in my heart that without Reckless, this Staraptor cannot one-shot my Dusknoir. Cannot take my Dusknoir out at this point, so I just sit here and watch as the Brave Bird fires off. Dusknoir eats it like a champion, lives at 13 HP, and Staraptor goes down to its own recoil, as Dusknoir pulls out the MVP of the battle and pulls out the victory. There you have it, ladies and gentlemen. That was our Week 2 battle, the PFCFL Season 2. We are now, at this point, 2-0 with a +5 differential. Later today, you will see our battle with Andy go up, and hopefully we can go up to 3-0 and boost that differential nice and high. So, yeah, I'm excited. This was an absolutely fantastic battle. And I wish everyone else the best of luck in facing Steven in the league, because he's absolutely top notch. So without further ado, guys, I'm going to leave it off here. If you guys have enjoyed this battle, please make sure to leave a like down below and subscribe if you haven't already. And until next time, guys, I'm PokePrimer, signing off.